Okay, so let's get ready for visioning for 2022. So like I was saying, just be comfortable. Just be comfortable during this 3-hour event. I will give a break halfway in, and you all should have the workbook, and hopefully you printed it. There's a reason why you want to print it and handwrite. There's a very, very specific reason. And I gave you a list of oils and crystals, but here's the thing. If you don't have the oils and the crystals, don't worry about it. These strategies work on their own. The oils and the crystals just help you get there a little bit faster, okay? So I don't want anybody freaking out about that. And as we are going through, if you have questions, you can type them in the chat. But you're going to have time to actually do the work, because how many times have you gone to a class or a workshop and you're like, yeah, that's great information, I'm going to do that, and a week later you haven't done it? Everybody, every human on the planet has done that. The only ones who don't do that are our 4-legged family members. Like Stella implements. She's here. She's actually in her cat tree in my office. She implements all of her goals. Her main goal is to eat food. So she kind of has an anti-weight loss goal for the year. But for us, I mean, this is what we do. We learn stuff and then we don't implement. In this workshop, you're going to have time to do stuff, to at least get the ball rolling. But the class doesn't end here. So I'll talk about that more at the end. So to get us started, and again, if you don't have any of these oils and crystals, don't worry about it. If you have one oil or one crystal, just use that. But if you have valor or believe, go ahead and put a drop in your hands and rub your hands together and deeply inhale. And we're all going to get high. By the time we're done, you're going to be in a great mood by the end of the day. Great mood. Everybody is just going to come to you and say, wow, you smell so good. You're in such a great New Year's vibe. Because you're high on oils. So valor or believe, or whatever you have. All right, so to kick this off, I want to first open up the chat so that I can see questions as they come in. All right, so I want you to think back to a year ago. You guys, I can't believe it's 2022. Like, I feel like I'm in like one of those futuristic movies like Star Wars or something like that. It's just to say 2022, I feel like I should be wearing like a Martian suit. This is so weird, so weird. But what I want you to do is I want you to think back to a goal that you had a year ago. All right. First of all, do you, Carol, the workbook was attached to the email I sent you. So take a look at the bottom of your email. The workbook was in the email. It was attached. Did you all should have gotten it, hopefully. Okay. All right, so I want you to think back to a goal that you had this time last year. Big or small? Big or small? Did you achieve it? Like, do you even remember it? One thing that I do, and we're going to talk about this. These were all my goals for 2021. It was ridiculous. I break them into 4 categories, and I pin it to my wall so I don't forget. But I want you to really think, did you have a goal that you're like, oh yeah, I actually wanted to walk every day. I wanted to meet new people every week. I wanted this financial goal. I wanted this mindset to shift, you know. And if you didn't achieve it, did you really believe it deep down that you could? You know, how many times have we set a really big lofty goal and deep down that little voice in our head is like, yeah, right. good luck with that, because that ain't going to happen. And it really happens to all of us. And it's why too many New Year goals fail. Too many fail. And the failing can be tied directly to our beliefs. Now, what I'm going to walk you through is, this is a system that can really be used for any goals, but it's more for the big ones, like the big fish that you're going for. But you can use it for small ones. Because whether we pursue a goal, it actually begins with a belief that then creates the mindset that then impacts whether we actually take the steps, do the work, or whether we don't take the steps, which is sabotaging behavior. So whether we stay committed to a goal really involves knowing why we want it. Like, why do we want to achieve this goal? And then that helps us stay dedicated when life gets in the way. So, goal setting is not just about naming a goal on New Year's Day and creating a vision board and putting it on there and, praying to it that it's going to come true and sniffing your oils and holding your crystals. Those are parts and pieces, but that's not going to make it happen. And if you've ever done that and it didn't work, then that actually ingrains a mindset in you that this stuff doesn't work. You have to know how to get from A to Z. And you have to know what can get in the way, because we all have behaviors, we all have habits that get in the way. We have roadblocks that get in the way. And goals require active steps. It's just not going to magically appear. You actually have to take the steps. And the workbook that I sent you is how to do it. So it's 15 years of gathering all of these techniques, because I have studied from so many different people and read books and taken classes and been in masterminds, and I have been testing and tweaking and using the system for 7 years. And I tweak it all the time. And I can tell you, if you do this workbook, and if you go back to this workbook every month, at the end of the month, at the beginning of the month, and continue to focus on it, you will do better.
Recording in progress.
You will do better. Here, I'm going to mute everybody's line. Sorry. All right, there we go. If you do the work, if you look at this workbook, because it may be creating some new habits for you, some new ways of looking at things. So this isn't a class where you're going to sit through once and, one and done. This is not where you're going to fill out the workbook once and put it away and forget about it. Find a 3-ring binder, put it in there, and put it in your calendar, either on your phone or a planner, to go back and look at it, okay? Because it's going to give you the action steps to keep going. And so, do you have one big goal? This is part of your pre-workshop homework. Do you have one big goal in mind for 2022? That big fish where you're like, that's what I want. That's what I've been setting goals for 10 years, and I haven't gotten there. And that's what I want. Because when you can put all your energy into one big goal, you're more likely to take the steps to make it happen. And then all these other little mini goals that are under it start to happen and start to come true. And so if you've not done well with goals in the past, especially if you want to repeat a goal, if you want to set a goal, because you're like, I set this goal last year and the year before and the year before, and it's just not coming true, consider setting a goal that actually relates to your mindset that's interfered with the goal. And when you deal with the mindset, then the goal is more likely to be achieved. So for example, if you want to set a goal to lose weight or be healthier, rather than set a weight goal, set a goal on working on the mindset, figuring out the mindset that's sabotaging you. And when you figure that out, you'll reach the weight goal. So you see how that works? And we're going to dig into that a little bit more. So all right. What I want you to do is pull out page 2 of your workbook that says my 2022 vision. This is your master plan, your 2022 vision. Once you get this filled out, you can literally tape it to the wall. You can put it on your refrigerator. You can put it wherever you're going to see it. And things may change throughout the year. By the time I get to about May or June, this workbook is a mess. I have scribbled things out. I've written other things in. It is a nightmare. So I reprint the pages, and because what I'm doing shifts. The goal shifts because I shifted something in me, and it's like, oh, now that's what I'm going for. This is what really matters. Not what I thought on January 1st. Now what I'm looking at on May 20th, that's what I'm going for because I shifted something. So you'll have this workbook. You can keep reprinting the pages and keep filling them out. So vision casting is a part of this process to really help you be successful in your big goal or however many goals you want. You can fill this workbook out for however many goals you want. And vision casting helps if there's such a big gap between where you are right now and where you want to be with the goal, to where like you can't even see it. You can't even feel it. You're like, oh my gosh, this is so far away. Like maybe you want to create a new business and you're like, well, I got this great idea in my mind. Yeah, I just, such a big gap. Like I literally will have to parachute myself across the Grand Canyon. I don't even know how to get there. That is a mindset that will stop you and you won't even take the steps. But we have to take steps to reach a goal. And it may take 5 years, 10 years to reach a goal, but when you consistently take steps, you're going to get there. So I always like to start with, when you're looking at your goal, what do you really want? Like not what society wants for you. What do you really want deep down? If it has a financial part to it, what we really want is never about the money. It's what we want to do with the money. So when people set money goals, they're often not achieved. Switch it and set the goal for what do you want to do with it? Because that's inspiring. It's also about how do you want to live your life and how your goal fits into your vision for your life. Because when you think about a big goal for the year, looking 20, 30 years ahead, will it really have mattered? So when people, I remember back in the day early on when I was learning about, visioning and manifesting and goal setting, people were putting cars on their vision board. Yet 20, 30 years down the road, first of all, we're not going to have that car. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. What that car on the vision board was earning a certain amount of money to where you feel comfortable buying that car. So it's backing it up. So I like to put myself 20, 30 years ahead and look back and say, is this really important? Is having another meeting important? Is having another class important? Is having another Zoom important? Is writing another blog important? Or is working on my mindset, is that important? Because that'll last a lifetime. So going back to this page 2, one thing, you can go ahead and write your goal in. It may change by the end of our 3 hours. But I also want you to think about, I asked you to pick a word of the year. Now so I've been picking a word of the year for about, I don't know, 12 or 13 years, and I love how it's caught on. And it really is important because this word is your guiding energy all year. I actually write mine with a Sharpie on a stone. So I love to go like to the Upper Peninsula and get like those flat rocks that you can get out of Lake Superior or Lake Huron. And I actually write it on that and keep it on my desk, because your word of the year is going to refocus your energy on what you want, who you want to be, you know, how you want to do that. What do you want to have? And, you know, so I asked you to bring some words, you know, to class. And is there one that really stands out? Because if there is, write that on page 2 in your workbook under my word for 2022. It may change, and it's okay if it changes. Because, you know, if you can create an image of in your mind of this goal and how you're going to feel when you achieve it, then you can associate a word with the steps to get there that will keep you committed and keep you strong. Then you can look at it. So say the word. Like just close your eyes and just say the word. And does it feel right? Does it feel right? Because this is a word that you can work with every day. When you start to go off track, you can just literally say the word and you'll get back on track. Post it where you can see it. Make it into a screensaver on your phone, on your computer, on your iPad. And it'll help redirect you back when you get off track, or when you get stuck, or when you actually stop taking the steps. So if you're still torn between a couple of words, let's take a minute here. You can, if you have the Envision oil, why don't you go ahead and you can put a drop of that in your hands. Again, if you don't have these oils, it's okay. If you have an amethyst or a clear quartz crystal, you can hold that. And quiet your mind and think about your goal, and think about what word of the year is going to keep you committed to taking all the little steps from A to Z to get to that goal. Okay, so let's just take a minute and do that. Yeah, and if you have 2 words, if they relate to each other, if it's like peanut butter and jelly, if they relate to each other, that's good. If they're different energies, you got to pick one. You got to pick one. And if you want to write your word in the chat, it might give people an idea. Mine is simplify. With 3 businesses and wanting to work less hours, I have to simplify everything. So that is my word, and man, does that feel good. I need more Lake Michigan time. I'm seeing believe. So back up in the chat question, is the big fish goal a long-term goal that may take more than a year? Yeah, the big fish goal, well, it all depends. It all depends on your mindset. It depends on your action steps. So can't say how long it's going to take. It depends on you. But it could take more than a year. I mean, I have goals that I'm still working on years and years and years later. And some are quick. So let's see, worthy, center, illuminate, intentional, perspective, peace and balance. So peace and balance are 2 different energies. So smell your oil and ask yourself, which one? Which one? Confidence, intentionally, yes. Empowered. Okay, so write down the word that resonates with you right now. It may change by the end of the class, okay? All right, and this page 2, we're going to keep coming back to. All righty, so now we are going to move on to page 3, and this was your pre-workshop homework, was to reflect on 2021. And if you haven't done it, that's okay, you can do it. But this is really important because it's challenging to move forward if you haven't critically looked at the past year, especially if you are pursuing the same goal, or if you had goals and you didn't meet them. You got to figure out what's going on. So, what this is, it's just 3 very simple questions to really reflect on honestly, and looking at the results that you created. Because everything that we did, we created it. Sometimes that can be a bitter pill to swallow. But we can look, when we realize that we can create things, and if we don't like what we created, well, we can just create something better. So it actually makes me feel empowered rather than hopeless. So it's looking at what worked and what didn't work. And, did you let life get in the way? I hear that so much from people. And it's like, well, that is a self-sabotaging behavior of excuses. Yes, stuff happens. But when you think of goals and habits, even when you think of little ones, like, do you stop eating food when life gets in the way? Do you stop brushing your teeth when life gets in the way? That's how I like to think about goals. It's like, you know what? This is just part of my daily thing. This is just part of my daily thing. So if you were standing in your own way, this is a way to unpack it, because it's really important to know what was in your way, what thinking was in your way, because you're going to bring them into this year, like you brought them into today. And that's why it's important to look at them and release them. So I had this whole burning ceremony last night. Oh my gosh, it was so fun. Like, I wrote down stuff on a piece of paper, and it's like, I'm letting this go and this go and this go. I went outside and blew it all up. It was awesome. So I would encourage you to do that. Especially, we're coming upon a new moon tomorrow that is specifically the energy of letting go of 2021, so that you can really come into 2022 with the right mindset and the right energy. So, let me give a quick example, because a lot of people have money goals. And so let's say you had a money goal in 2021, but you're really no further along today than you were January 1st of last year. So when you can go through the sheet, maybe you realize, you know what, I didn't do the work. I didn't change what I was doing, because if we want something new, we can't keep doing the same thing. We have to change something. Just like if you want to walk to the end of the street, you can't stay standing where you are. You have to get your little feet moving. So it's the same thing with our actions. If you didn't take the steps, if you didn't adjust what you were doing, you're not going to get there. Or did you forget about the goal? Because maybe deep down it wasn't important. Or did you get frustrated and you gave up because you didn't really know what to do? You set a goal, you put it on your refrigerator, and you're like, now what? And so if you realize nothing changed, maybe this year, if you have a similar goal, it should involve the courage and the commitment to figure out what stood in your way, what mindset, what belief, what thought stood in my way. Not the actual money goal. So if you're thinking, I want to save $10,000 this year, don't put that as your goal. Focus on, okay, why didn't I save $10,000 last year? What do I need to do? What are the steps? And that's what this workbook will help you figure it out. So when you can focus on, what do I need to do every day? What are the thoughts that I need to have? What are the beliefs that I need to have? Then you know what steps to take, and you're going to get closer And that's very different than just writing $10,000 and sticking it on a vision board and you just look at it and it's like, okay, how come it's not manifesting? Where's my money fairy? Where's it coming from? Nope, that's not how it works. I'm sorry to burst bubbles. That's not how it works. That's how a lot of people teach it. So I don't know, maybe it's because I'm a Leo. I don't know, I tend to be a little more practical. So, in the chat, did anybody have any aha moments from this? I'd love to see if you had some aha moments, because this can be a really powerful exercise to unpack the year. So, and to me, like when I mean, because I had a ridiculous, these were all the steps. I had 4 main goals and all my little steps. And when I looked at one goal, it's like, you know what? I didn't do a darn thing. I don't beat myself up over it because I was so laser focused on the other ones. And so hence my word simplify. Allie, you don't need 4 big goals. Okay. And deep down, my little inner voice is saying, you're killing me. If we don't have at least 10 goals, what are we going to do? Yeah, we're going to simplify. We're going to simplify. So let's see, Mary, you met a goal, but you didn't maintain it for the year, but you met it, which means you can do it again. So instead of beating yourself up about it, keep it in your mind. You know what? I got there once. I can do it again. I can do it again. Yeah, didn't do the practical steps. Yep, consistency. Oh my gosh, that is a big thing. I'm going to be kind of pounding that in this workshop, consistency. I really, really want you to think about a goal and the steps to it like your daily routine. What do? Take a shower, brush your teeth, comb your hair, put makeup on, eat breakfast. You stick it in there. You stick it in there. Yeah, putting everything and everyone first. Yeah, if you collapse, everybody around you is going to collapse. So yeah, can't be doing that. Can't be doing that. Being too hard on yourself, expecting too much quickly. Oh, I get that. I really get that. Who is that? Really hard on yourself and expecting miraculous results? Yeah, your one goal is that if you hit it, everything else will fall into place. Yes, because big goals have all these little mini goals under them, and everything just starts to align. All right, so yeah, that is really important to go through that. So that was your pre-workshop work. We're not going to go through that. But if you haven't done it, please do it. It's really important. I'm still unpacking 2021 because there was a lot. There was a lot. Now on the next page, page 4, if you do not have any oracle cards or tarot cards, you can skip it. But those of us who love our cards, the one thing that I love to do, I wonder if I can pull out my example from this year. By the way, this is my binder of all my years. I keep everything. It's fascinating to go back, and I have it all the way back to 2008, and to go back and look, and it's like, oh my gosh, I've come so far. It's like, wow, good job, Allie. But this is what I do with my card reading. I actually take a picture. I take a picture of the cards, and I explain them. I explain, for each quarter, and I stick it on my wall. So I can literally look at it, and I don't look at it every day, but it's there. And I look at the energy of the cards, and it's like, that actually happened. Wow, isn't that amazing? Because when you work with oracle cards or tarot cards, you will, I got this big workbook here. You will draw the right cards. So if you haven't done it, what I like to do, if you've really not worked with cards, if you want to get a card deck or if you have card decks and you're not sure what to do, just intend to select 5 cards. You know, 1 for each quarter, and 1 is the main card for the year. And what I do is I just shuffle the cards, and usually, you know, a card like that, did you see that? A card just pops up. Okay, so, or if a card doesn't pop up, you can say, I'm going to shuffle 3 times, and whatever card is on the top of the deck is my card. Okay, and you can create a bigger spread, because in all the books, they actually have like all sorts of spreads in here. You can create whatever spread you decide, and you decide what each card stands for. So a card could be for, you know, this was my energy in 2021. You know, this is my energy going into 2022. You know, this is what I want for work. This is what I want for relationships. This is what I want for health. You can do the 4 quarters of the year. And what you're doing is you're getting guidance on the energy of whatever you want the cards to do, whether it's the past, whether it's each quarter of the year. And pay attention to the guidance of the card, because it's telling you something. And all card decks come with a little book, and you can just read the book, and it is very informative. You know, in all my classes, we do a card draw, and everybody, when they pick their card, they have this kind of, oh crap moment on their face, where they're like, I did not want to see that message, but I needed to see that message. So, and then just make a note of that. And this, you can write it out and stick it on your wall. I have a ridiculous amount of stuff on my walls. I mean, it almost looks like graffiti in my office. It's pretty, it's pretty intense. Or you can just, you know, keep it in your workbook. But that is definitely worth doing if you like cards. If you don't have cards, if it's not your thing, don't worry about it. All right. Popping ahead. Did anybody do a card draw? Did anybody do a card draw? In the chat, I'd love to know what was the main 2022 theme of your card. So shockingly, my card was about simplification. It's like, really? Do you really need to pound that to my head anymore? Thank you. I already got the message. But it'll keep reinforcing. Main theme was potential, and all the cards were tied into that. Yes, 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 yes. Yeah, you'll find that. Yeah, you will read into the cards what you need to see. You will also draw the cards what you need to know. So yeah, excellent, excellent, excellent. Emotional balance and success. I'm the storyteller who is neither made of nor defined by the story. Ooh, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah, the cards are interesting. They give us really deep insights. You know, because we have this human brain that has a subconscious that is 90 to 95% of our beliefs and thoughts and feelings and actions. And that's where we can feel out of control. It's like, that's 90 to 95%. But when you start doing this inner work, you really tap into it. It's like, oh, that's what's going on with me. And then you can change it. You can consciously change it. All right, let's move ahead to page 5. And it's the work page entitled Be, Do, Have. Is that page 5? Yes, that is page 5. Be, do, have. Okay, what does this mean? All right, so too often we set a goal that is about stuff. I want to save $10,000. I want to get this house. I want this to happen in my business. You know, it's about stuff. But really, really deep down, like at a soul level, it doesn't align with what really matters, with what really matters. And it's because in goal setting, most people first focus on what they want to have. Then they focus on what do I need to do to get that thing that I want to have. But they don't think about who they want to be. Have you ever set a goal and it was so frustrating? It was just so frustrating. Maybe it was a health related goal and you're like, I'm going to go to the gym every day. I don't care if I have to drag my behind into that gym. I am going. Well, first of all, that's the wrong energy. You're never going to go with that. but you just, it was a struggle energy. It was a forcing because that wasn't the right thing. You can be healthy without going to the gym. You can do other things. And so, I mean, have you ever done that? I mean, I've done that. I've set a goal and it's like, I'm going to jam this square peg into a round hole. I got the biggest hammer. Gosh darn it. I'm going to make it happen. And then you get exhausted and depleted. And it's like, why do I have this goal? This is a miserable journey. The joy should be in the journey. And when you get to the goal, you should be feeling really good. And it's like, yeah, party. All right, I got there. But that struggle is because we focus on what we want to have rather than who do we want to be. And so in this page, and I'm gonna give you some time. Okay, so get your pen and paper out. Because when we can focus on who we want to be, this ties directly in to how you will live your life every day. And how you live your life every day will help you align then to what you do and how you do it. But first, you got to figure out how do I want to feel? Who do I want to be? Who do I want to be? So if you have the Envision oil, you guys, we keep coming back to that oil. That's a good one. If you have frankincense oil, that's also a good one to work with. If you have the amethyst crystal or demoterite, that's a good one that you can hang on to or set in your lap. But I want you to breathe in again your oil. And I want you to take 5 minutes. It may not be enough, which is why you'll come back to this workbook, but I want you to spend 5 minutes right now. I'm going to time it. And write down the first thing that comes to your mind with these questions. If I could be anything in 2022, who would I be? If I could do or accomplish anything, what would I do? And if I could have anything this year, what would I want to have? Also look at your values. What are your most important values? What are your gifts? What are your strengths? Okay. And, you know, it's write what first comes to mind. Does it feel good? Does it conjure up excitement and eagerness? You know, don't choose what other people want for you. I want you to dream big. I want you to pretend like you have no barriers. Because if you can see it, then you will know what steps to take. So, all right, I want you to take 5 minutes and I want you to work on the be, do, have page. Okay, I know that wasn't a lot of time, but hopefully you got some ideas. Because when we can literally write down the first thing that comes to mind, that's pretty authentic. It's when we get into analysis paralysis that we go way off track. And that's your ego driving it. And then those are the goals and those are the action steps that it's like, no, I don't think I want to do that today. I'll do that next week. And then it never happens. So, all right, did anybody have any aha moments from writing your be, do, and have? And doing it in that order. Instead of focusing on what you want to have and then what you have to do to get it, focus on how you want to be. So did anybody have any aha moments from that? Because to me, that's always very, very powerful. Because when you can focus on how you want to live your life and who you want to be, then everything flows from there. Because if you're setting a goal that doesn't fit with how you want to live your life, you know, if you're setting, you know, a health goal and you have to do things and you're like, well, first of all, I don't have the time for that, or I don't have the money to invest in whatever I need, well, then you're not going to do it. But if you can reverse it and flip it, then you can create those steps. Absolutely. Okay. Yeah, and if you have money goals, I mean, if you know, I had a client who was living on Social Security and she wanted to earn $250,000 in the first year of her business. And I'm like, okay, how are you going to do that? And she gave me a blank look. And I said, do you know how many hours you would have to work every day to get there? And she's like, oh, I don't want to do that. And I'm like, okay, let's think about how you want to live your life. Who do you want to be? And then we can backtrack it from there. Okay. So yeah, so this is all of these are good things to sit with and spend a little more time. And it's perfect at the beginning of the year. It's perfect with this new moon that we're going to have tomorrow. So if you've got, you know, kind of a quiet weekend scheduled, please dig into this more, because you're really going to set the tone and the energy for the year. And you're going to get to this day next year and say, wow, look at all that I accomplished. Look at how I lived my life. I was happier, I was healthier. And oh, by the way, all these goals got achieved just by shifting that. So, all right, we are going to return to page 2, which is your guiding page that you're working off of. And we're going to work on how you want to live your life in 2022 and your theme. So grab an oil. You can grab the Awaken oil. You can grab Magnify Your Purpose, whatever you have. If you have crystals, if you have the candle quartz or green aventurine, you can hold that. If you don't have any of these, don't worry about it. And let's quiet our minds for a second. Smell your oils. And I want you to focus on what is your theme for 2022. A theme is to be written as if it's already happened, as if somebody is writing a story about your life, as if a news reporter sits with you on December 31st of 2022 and says, tell me about your year. And they write a story about it. What you're going to do is you're going to merge that be, do, and have with your word of the year, with your values, with your strengths, with your gifts, and write it as if it has come true. Let me give you an example. I'll give you mine. My word of the year is simplify. And I know you all are thinking, yeah, Allie, you need to simplify. Amen to that. For values, I wrote health, freedom, contribution, and legacy. For gifts, my gifts are I'm passionate, I'm action-oriented, I have integrity, I'm unique in how I teach, and I love to help. And my strengths are courage, perseverance, and compassion. Okay, how do you put that all together in a theme? This is my theme, and you write it like a news reporter is writing it for you. And so this is what the news reporter wrote about me. Allie changed how we view wellness and the world we live in for people and pets. She passionately and courageously shared her knowledge of energy healing, essential oils, crystals, and our energy world to transform the lives of people and pets. Her integrity, enthusiasm, and ability to uniquely simplify difficult concepts into doable lifestyles to allow people to take control of their health, their pets' health, was implemented by many. She simplified her approach, which allowed more time for authentic relationships and freedom in her days. This has changed thousands of lives and given her the freedom to live in her lake house and contribute to shelter pets and pets of domestic violence, leaving a lasting legacy. That's a theme. You see how it all comes together? You're pulling all these words and you're writing it as if it has happened. All right? There should be emotion. You should get a little choked up when you read it. Okay? So focus who you want to be, not what you want to do. Focus on your values, focus on your gifts and your strengths, your word of the year. And I want you to spend 5 minutes writing that theme as well as how you want to live your life. This is on page 2. You're going to write that out. Okay? Let's take 5 minutes and do that. And write the first thing. Don't overthink it. Just write. Let it flow. Let it drain out of your brain onto the paper. All righty. So while you are doing that, Rudy joined us. And you guys, I can't make this stuff up. First of all, he delivered us a toy. It's a fortune cookie. And the fortune cookie says, follow your dreams. I'm not kidding. This is what he brought us. He's like the oracle. You're very wise, Rudy. Yes, thank you. We appreciate the message. Isn't that funny? All righty. So, all right. So you're going to want to keep working on that. You can refine it. But usually the first brain dump of, you know, how you want to live your life in 2022 and your theme is usually what you're going to stay with. So you might want to tweak it here and there. So we're going to go one step further. And this one is pretty deep, what we're going to get into. And I'm going to talk you through this next section. And we're going to spend quite a bit of time because this is one of the foundations of being successful in really what you want in life. So if you've struggled with consistency in pursuing a goal, which I think we all have, we've all been there. We've all set a goal. We weren't consistent. You know, one of my goals that I struggle with consistency is morning meditation. I know why I need to do it. I know exactly what it does for me. So I keep digging deeper into this next section. And it really comes down to two things. Knowing why it's a goal. Why do you need to do this thing? And then really making a pledge, committing to yourself that you're not going to quit. And that comes with having good habits. So these are the next two things we're going to do. We're going to dig into why, and then we're going to talk about creating good habits. Because whenever we want to achieve something, have something new, we can't be standing in the same position. We have to do something different. That requires a habit. It just does. But first, starting with a strong why will keep you committed to your goal, even when life gets in the way, even when things are difficult. You will still persevere. And I was actually having this conversation yesterday with a bartender, of all people. we were talking about New Year's goals. And, you know, we all come into the new year and, you know, we think, you know, oh, you know, it's a fresh start and I'm going to kill it and I'm going to crush my goals. And yeah, I'm going to do all of this. But all of your energy, the negative mindset, the struggles from the past year, from your whole life, come into this year. It's not like you walked through a door and immediately slammed it and said, no, 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 all that negative stuff, you don't get to come with me unless you do the work on that. And it's not like a sabotaging mindset magically disappeared at the stroke of midnight when the ball dropped, you know, in Times Square. That doesn't happen. So everything from yesterday is still here unless we work on it. And so we take our beliefs, we take our mindsets, all the thoughts that are up here in the brain. We're taking it into this year unless we look at it and we do something about it. And, you know, when I look at successful people, they keep going through adversity. They just keep going. And so if you find, you know, that life situations and excuses stop you from pursuing a goal every day, then this is going to be very helpful because it may help you identify that you need to maybe have a goal on inner strength, perseverance, working on that, working on habits, because when you have good, consistent habits, you will achieve the goal. It's like climbing Mount Everest. You know, you can't climb 500 feet and say, oh yeah, I'm just going to sit here and I'm just going to visualize, you know, being at the summit. No, get your butt moving. Get your butt moving. Thaw your hands off and get your butt moving. So when I look at successful people, they keep going through hardship. And, you know, I did a whole class on this where some people are actually in their brain, they're hardwired for commitment, and other people just need to create good habits. And you can. That's something in your control. There's a lot of stuff in this world that's not in our control. Your habits are in your control. So, has anybody ever gone through figuring out your why? Simon Sinek has written a couple of books. The main one is called Find Your Why. He also has another book called Start with Why. And when you figure out your why, it's again working backwards, like the be, do, have. Don't focus first on what you want to have and then what you got to do. You focus on how you want to be. Most people focus on, again, what I want to have and what I need to do. Well, you got to figure out, why do you want it? Why does it matter? Why does it matter to you? Because if it doesn't matter, you're not going to do it. You're not going to create the habit. And then when life gets busy, or when you don't feel good, or when there's family drama, or when there's a pandemic, then it's easy to say, oh my gosh, I'm just going to go into my blanket for it, and I can't do any of this. I can't do any of this. But when you know why you want something, you keep going. You keep going. And it's deeper than self-motivation. I mean, you got to have internal self-motivation, which another word for that is commitment. It's a pledge that you make to yourself. Your why keeps you going. It's like the little pilot light inside of you. Sometimes it's a roaring fire, but that pilot light is always on. And so it's what helps you in the morning to get up and do something toward it. Depending on the goal, maybe you work all day on it, or maybe you do 5 minutes toward it. And it's the reason that you want to devote time and energy and resources to the goal. And it should conjure up some pretty deep, strong emotions. And if it doesn't, you got to keep digging. And if you find that life gets in the way and you make excuses, you keep digging. So I have found that when we dig 7 layers deep, you can find your why. You may find it sooner than 7 layers, but boy, you're going to find it by the 7th layer. And that's what I want to walk you through. Okay. And it's really important that you listen to your gut. And that's why, if you have frankincense oil, I'm going to be working with Gary's Light, but if you have frankincense oil, that's a good one to work with. For crystals, if you have apophyllite or kunzite. Okay, so what I want you to do, take a hit of your oil. You should be getting high by now. And as I walk you through this, so you're going to work in your work pages here. We're going to start on page 8. And listen to what comes to you and write it down. Don't think it. Don't analyze it. First thing that comes to mind, write it down. Okay? And then when we get to the next level, don't overthink it. Write it down. And if you keep repeating the same thing, you're too stuck in your brain. And keep coming back to this exercise, because you got to dig deeper. And if you don't dig deep, then it's only hurting your goal. And this why is your pilot light for commitment and self-motivation. All right, are you ready? All right, so if you used your your oils. You could even put it on your third eye. This is your intuition center. All right. And you can say a prayer. You can connect to whoever you want to connect to for guidance. And, you know, ask for guidance to really unearth this true inner driving force for this big goal that you have. You want to find out why. Why do you want to achieve this? Why do you want to spend the time, the money, the resources, the energy for this goal? Be open to the answers. Okay, here's your question. For my goal for 2022, first write it down. What is your goal? So we are on page 8. This is question number 2. What is my goal for what I want to achieve in 2022? Write it down. And it should be fairly short. Okay, you're not writing a manifesto here. Okay, so, and if you need to, keep smelling your oil. We're going to question 3. Why is that my goal? Okay, close your eyes. I really want you to think, why is that my goal? Right, the first thing that comes to mind. Now I want you to take that answer in number 3. I want you to write it as a question in number 4. I want you to ask yourself a why question based on your answer in number 3. Write it as a why. Why is dun, 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 important? Or why is it my goal? So write down the question as a why. And then I want you to reflect on that. Okay, now I want you to take your answer in number 4, go to the next page, and under number 5, take the number 4 answer and write it as a why. So why is the answer in number 4 important? So you're going to write that as your question. Why is, fill in the words from the number 4 answer, important, reflect on that. Write the first thing that comes to mind. Now take your answer in number 5, go to question number 6, and I want you to write it as a why in number 6. So why is, all the words from your number 5 answer, important? Why is your answer in number 5 important? Now take your answer in number 6, write it as a why question in number 7. So why is number 6 answer important? Smell your oil again if you need to, and write your answer. Why is your answer in number 6 important? And then we'll do one more. Take your answer from number 7. We're going to the next page, and under number 8, take your 7 answer, write it as a why question. Why is the number 7 answer important? Keep digging. Dig deeper. Now I want you to, underneath number 8, I want you to go back and write your initial why that you wrote down under number 2, or I'm sorry, under number 3. What was your initial why under number 3? And then underneath that, I want you to write your true why, which is what you wrote in number 8, and to see how they're different. And then lastly, what are 2 or 3 things that will help you, knowing your true why, that will help you stay committed to your goal? So list 3 ways that knowing your true why will help you stay committed to your true goal. All right, did anyone's initial why dramatically changed by the time you got to the end? Because that's your pilot light when you really dig deep. So that why you can put on a vision board. That why you can make into a screensaver on your phone or on your computer so that you look at it and you remind yourself, this is why I'm doing it. This is why I will do it when I'm tired. This is why I will do it when I don't feel good. This is why I will do it when my to-do list is massive and I'm so busy. This is why I will do it when I don't feel like it. And whatever it is, even if it's just 5 minutes every day, we're going to get into habits and consistency, but that's when it compounds. But if you don't know why you're doing something, you're not going to do it. It's so like this. I love sharing this. This is all helping everyone. All of you is who I am, which is why on New Year's Day, I'm here. I love this. This fuels me. My pilot light is like, it's like a big bonfire right now, scorching everything in sight. It's what wakes you up. It what keeps you going. When you'd rather just sit on the couch and binge on Netflix, it's where you say, you know what, I'm going to do this one thing first, or I'm going to do all these things because this is what is going to inch me closer to my goal. All right. And we're getting ready to take a 10-minute break. Any questions up until this? You can unmute yourself if you want to. You can ask it in the chat. Any questions about what we've done? Because we're going to keep building.
Can we continue to revise this as we go?
Yes. And
like quarterly, redo it each quarter just to see where we're at, see if things have changed.
Yes.
In this section.
Absolutely. In fact, I will tell you, Rudy's heading over to the crystals. I will tell you, my why changes frequently.
Okay.
And as soon as you find yourself losing that commitment, go back to your why.
Because mine swung so radically that my real why is completion.
Yeah.
It started from something so totally different.
Yeah.
To I need completion. Completion's my why.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah. And you can keep digging deeper, because if you got to the 7th layer,
yeah,
and you can just keep digging, and mine changes. I just did it along with you, and it's like, well, this is completely different than last year.
Okay.
Yeah, because you will grow and you will shift and you will change, and the why will shift and change with you. And so this is something, you have this workbook. You can print these pages from now until the end of time, and you can just keep redoing them. So when you feel stuck, when you are not doing what your goal needs you to do, come back to why and dig. Dig, dig, dig. I've had people dig so far, they message me and they're like, well, I'm a hot mess now. I am in a puddle on the floor. I'm like, good, dig deeper. Dig deeper.
I feel like not like us not reaching our whys or figuring out our whys, because for me, figuring out a why has been difficult. I'm not gonna, why do I want this? I don't know. I just do. But I feel like when you're digging deeper, you're going into childhood stuff. You're going into past things, past life stuff. That is why you're stuck today. What's stopping you? What's blocking you? What life events have occurred? All plays a role in this.
Exactly.
Because for me to go from what I did to completion, where'd that come from? Oh, now I know. I know where that came from.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can see where the puddle on the floor would happen.
And this is where the oils or the crystals or both are going to work energetically to, I always equate this to the Rubik's Cube. Remember from the 80s, do, 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 and all of a sudden it's perfect. Energetically, that's what oils and crystals do. They go in, you don't need to know what they're doing, but when you smell an oil or hold a crystal, it's like, choo, 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 and it's changing things. So that's why I'm having you smell oils every step of the way, because it's getting us out of the way. It's getting us out of the way. So, all right, let's take a 10-minute break, and I will come back in 2 minutes. If anybody has any questions, we can talk through questions, but take a 10-minute break and then we're gonna dive into negative beliefs, fun stuff. If anyone has any questions before we get started again, we got about 5 minutes. And Michelle, yes, everybody's going to get the recording to this.
Just ironic, Ali. Do you remember this? Remember the heart-shaped apophyllite, Gemmy apophyllite?
Mhm.
It's really appropriate to use for this, for the Y, I think. Very appropriate.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a beauty. I'm glad she made it safely because her formations are so unique, and I'm glad nothing broke.
Yeah. Yeah, I think the Y exercise does take you dig down. Yeah. Doesn't it? I've got a yeah. And I think even too, because it occurred to me, maybe it does even sometimes it might even bring you around to the same answer, just to as well. Just to clarify, because sometimes you might be on the right answer, but you've lost your motivation, or you're not, along the way you sort of lose it, and maybe it's just to help prompt again, just to remind again, or just to clarify and go, oh yeah, okay. Why am I, why am I?
Yeah, there was in the comments, Mary posted that the deeper she was digging, she realized that she really had no desire or motivation to accomplish the goal, so it can feel heavy. And I've been there. I was doing this exercise spring of 2021, and the more I kept digging, I was getting more into apathy and non-action. And it's like, oh my God, it's like, what the heck is going on? Because this is a multi-year goal. And it's like, holy moly, what is going on? So I started digging into that mindset. Why do I have apathy for this? And as soon as I asked, because non-motivation, non-commitment is apathy. When I asked, why am I apathetic about this? Holy crap. And it changed. So keep digging, and your why will change frequently. It's not a one and done. It'll change. All right, any other questions before we move on?
So when you're saying the why changes, are you saying the goal changes too, Ali? Or no? Oh, okay.
No. All the parts and pieces around the goal may change. It's like peeling an onion. It's like the first time you peel, you're probably only going to get so far. And that shifts how you're thinking about it, because it's all up here. It's all of our thoughts. Mindset is just thoughts. Thoughts we can change. Thoughts we can change. And so we start changing our thoughts. And then when we go back to reassess the why, it's like, oh, okay, this changed. It's like that Rubik's Cube. Everything is getting shifted every time we take a step and do something different. It's going to shift.
Because I noticed on one of my questions, or one of my answers, it started to come up that it was my perception of, like going from, the why, ask the question and then the answer. The answer was becoming, well, that's your perception of that. What's important about that? Well, it's not. It's your perception that it's important.
And then you can ask, why am I perceiving that as important? Yeah, because it digs you down to what really matters.
Yeah.
What really matters. It's kind of like at the end of the day, at the end of your life, what really matters. And this goal could be very important to that, but why it's important is going to give you a whole different reason why you really work toward it. Because this is all, getting out of the mindset of setting a goal and you don't do anything for it, or you make, all the excuses in the world for it, which is what we're going to get into. We're going to get into next. And Carol, I like your comment and how you identified that an injury and the pandemic was controlling your thoughts, controlling behavior, and that's happening to everybody. And when you can get beyond it, you will not let it. You will not let it. You are in control. So yeah. Isn't this fascinating? We could just dig and dig and dig on the why, but y'all would end up in therapy. And I don't necessarily want that on the first day of the new year for you. So pace yourself. Okay, now we're going to go to the page that is entitled Identifying Negative Beliefs. Well, that's a fun topic. That's a fun topic. So, all right, smell. If you have the transformation oil, smell it. If you have frankincense, you can smell that. If you have an celestial crystal or smoky quartz, that'd be a good one to clutch right now. Clutch like your life depends on it. And I just realized that I didn't put the space for you to do the work, but there's note pages in the back of your workbook. This workbook is constantly changing. I did major upgrades to it this year. Okay, so we're going to spend some time, not a lot, but some time on this. And this is a part of a method that one of my business coaches taught me, and it is really effective for sabotaging beliefs. That little voice in your head that says, well, you can't do that. You don't know what you're doing. You need to stop that. That's the ego, by the way, which we can't get rid of it. It's here to try to keep us safe, but you can change a belief system by changing your thoughts. And to me, it's like a new way of working with affirmations, because affirmations are all about positive thoughts. But if you read an affirmation and the little voice in your head goes, "Heh heh, you're funny." Yeah, you got to work on your beliefs and your thoughts. So here's, so I want you to think about your goal right now. And is there a thought in your head that is stopping you? Okay. This is the first thing that you're going to do is you're going to identify unintentional thoughts about your goals. It's not feelings, it's a thought. It's like a statement. So what thought are you having about your goal? So on that page or in the back of the book, there's blank note pages. I want you to write down just one thought. So if this happens to do with a business and you want to grow your business, maybe your thought is, I don't know how to find new customers. That's a thought. It's just matter of fact. I don't know how to find new customers. So write down your thought. And then the next thing, how does that thought make you feel? One feeling. You don't regurgitate everything onto the paper. One feeling, one thought, one feeling. So if it's, I don't know how to find new customers, maybe the feeling is helpless. Then how does that feeling play out in your actions? Your action steps for your goal. If you feel helpless, the action is, I don't do anything. Because I have this thought that I don't know how to find new customers. So I don't do anything. And then the fourth question is, how does that action or non-action impact your final result, your goal? And so in this example, well, I don't get any new customers. So do you see how a thought creates the feelings, which creates the actions or non-actions, which then impacts the result? Okay, you don't stop there. We're going to swap in and we're going to go intentional, because that's unintentional. You can change that. That is a belief. That thought is a belief. And the belief is, you don't know what you're doing. So you need to stop this. Okay, we're going to tell that belief, go take a nap. You are not welcome here. All right, so we're going to find an intentional positive thought, but it has to be one that you believe. It can't be so far-fetched that that thought goes, you're funny. Look how cute you are, trying to change your beliefs. I'm bigger than you. Yeah, you got to find one that you believe. So staying with this example of, well, I don't know how to find new customers. The new thought could be, I know 3 people that I'd love to meet with this week for coffee, or I meet with them over Zoom. Doesn't mean they're going to become a new customer, but you know what? I know 3 people I'd love to meet with. So what is an intentional positive thought that you have about your goal that you believe? So write that down. And then with that positive thought, how does it make you feel? So in this example, well, you know what? I know 3 people. I want to meet up for coffee. I'm excited. So what's the feeling with that intentional thought? And then how does that feeling play out in your actions? What do you do based on that feeling? So in this example, well, I immediately reach out to 3 people. And I schedule coffee, I schedule Zoom meetups. Like I immediately do it because I'm excited. That's the feeling that this chosen intentional thought is giving me. So how is your feeling playing out in your actions? And then last, how does that action then impact your result, your goal? So in this example, well, I'm taking action to bring in new customers. In most goal setting, because people don't know what to do, which we're getting to the what do I do? Because they don't know what to do, their thoughts tell them what to do and they're negative. They're sabotaging. And so they don't do anything. So if it's health related, it's like, okay, well, I want to lose 20 pounds. Now, I don't know what to do. Maybe I'll go to the gym. The little voice says, not in a pandemic. What are you thinking? Okay, I won't go to the gym. I'll walk outside every day. You live in Michigan. What's wrong with you? Don't do that. See how that happens? So these thoughts, when you identify it, and it's take one thought at a time. What feeling does it create? What action does it create? And what result does it create? When you start digging, like your why, when you start digging, you can then do the polar opposite and pick a thought, but you have to believe it. It can't be so fantastical and out there that you don't believe it. So something really practical, something doable. It's like, well, I can do this. That's easy. I can take this step. I can have this thought. It's like all the steps A to Z. Okay, what's the first thought? That's A. And this is how it makes me feel. And then I'll do this because it creates positive feeling. So I'm actually going to take positive action. Then I'm going to get a positive result. Cool. Okay, what's step B? Oh, I just had another negative thought. Unpack that thought. How does it make me feel? What's my action? What are my results? Well, I don't like that. So I need to flip it around. What's the next? How can I flip it around into something that I believe? Does that all make sense? Okay. Learning this from my coach literally took days. So teaching it to you in 10 minutes, you got the shortened version. But when you have a negative thought or an excuse, the first time you say, I don't have time. I'm too busy. I don't feel well. I have to take care of my kids. I have to take care of my spouse. My boss is demanding me. I have to do this. I have to do that. As soon as you start using the words I don't and I have to, go to this model. Go to this model and unpack what is the thought that's creating that. Because our excuses are not real. They're just negative thoughts of non-commitment. In order to pursue a goal, you have to be committed to it. Nobody can do it for you. Nobody can motivate you. Motivational speakers motivate you for like 2 days. Can't get it from outside of you. Can't get it from outside of you. So your excuse just means I'm not committed. Why am I not committed to this goal? I really want this goal. Why am I not committed? What's the thought? So this is where the why and the negative beliefs work together to sabotage you. So it's doing both. Because when I first learned about the why, it was okay, but it wasn't enough. So it's like, okay, I got to come at it from the negative thoughts and the negative beliefs that I have. I got to do both at the same time. So get a notebook and track your progress. Because when I go back to some of my, thought models that I've been doing, it's like, whoa, I've come a long way. I've come a really long way. Okay. All right. All right. Let's go to, Rudy is sitting on my workbook. Rudy, thank you. I need to move you. All right. We're going to go to the page called Building My Vision. Okay. We're still digging up some dirt here before we actually build you back up. And this is really focusing on self-sabotage. We all do it. I don't know why our brains were wired so that we sabotage ourselves. Whoever came up with that concept, I don't know. Maybe these are our life lessons to learn. But everybody, we all self-sabotage. You may know how you do it, or you may be hearing this for the first time and thinking, oh my gosh, I got work to do. Self-sabotage is not conscious. It's not like we sit around and say, you know what? I think I'm going to pick a fight with this person, which is going to sabotage my relationship. Or it's going to, create division in my business. I think I'm just going to pick a fight with this person. No, we don't do that. We don't think that, but we will do stuff that actually does that. So, so this is looking at your goal and looking at it from a place of sabotage. Are you going to sabotage your goals? So we're going to spend some time on this. You might want to smell your transformation oil. If you have an celestial crystal or a labradorite, you could hold that. But first I want to focus on what is called the red light self-sabotage. This is red light, stop. You're taking no steps with your goal. Absolutely none. And it's when your vision, your beliefs, and your thoughts are so low about this goal. You don't believe anything. Heck, you may want to take your believe oil. You just don't believe it. You like that one client who was living in Social Security and wanted to make $250,000 in her first year of business. Major red light, major red light. She actually went backwards in it. And this is where when you look at your goal, it doesn't feel good. You have worry, you have negativity, you come up with excuses like I can't, and you sabotage yourself. So is there a part of your goal that has red light in it? Because once you identify it, you can go back to the prior page and do the thought model on it. You know, why am I sabotaging myself? So take a moment and look at if there's any part of your goal, like if it's a health related goal, you want to lose 20 pounds. Your red light may be, you're not going to the gym. You never have, you never will. Now let's look to see if your goal has any yellow lights. So this isn't self-sabotage. This is just when you get into apathy. And it's where you're stuck and you stop yourself and you procrastinate. And maybe you look at your goal and say, well, why bother? You know, if your goal depends on other people, we can't control what other people do. Kind of going back to the thought model where the example I gave was, I don't know how to find new customers. Okay, well, if you want to grow your business, it's going to rely on outside people. You can't control outside people. All you can do is control yourself and what you do. So if you have any apathy for the part of your goal where it's like, well, you know, well, this is frustrating. You know, I don't know how I'm going to do this. And it really comes down to when the vision of your goal is aligned with your reality right here and now, rather than the future vision. Like going back to that theme that you wrote of the end result, it's where you're stuck in this reality. Well, you got to take a step out. You got to take a step. You can't stay in the same place. So that's a yellow light. That's a yellow light. So go ahead and write down anything that may be a yellow light. Because again, you're going to take these and you're going to put them in the prior page and work through the thoughts around them. And then the last is the green light. This is when you're on fire. You got your why, you've worked on your thoughts. It's when your vision is aligned with what matters. You are committed. You say yes to opportunities. You don't have any fear. You just go for it. That pilot light is a bonfire. You can see yourself achieving it. You know how you're going to celebrate it. What part of your goal has green lights to it? And your whole goal may be green light right now. And that's awesome. Or it may be yellow light. So in your workbook, write what your overall light is for your goal for this year. And then what I want you to do is I want you to take an oil. You can take the Believe oil, you can take the transformation oil, you can use frankincense. Okay, I want you to put more oil in your hand. I want you to close your eyes and smell the oil, and I'm going to ask you some questions. Okay, so you can put your pen and paper down. All right. We get together December 31st of 2022. We're having a New Year's Eve party. And I come up to you and I ask you about your goal. Okay. If you did not change your habits, change your thoughts, take any steps or any actions, if you put this workbook and all this information in the drawer, never looked at it again, if you did nothing and you manifested nothing, how will you feel? I want you to reflect on that. If you don't change your daily habits and beliefs, how are you going to feel 1 year from today? And how does it make you feel to think you could be in the same place? How does that make you feel? So the thoughts that come to mind, write that on your worksheet. And just put the first thoughts that come to mind. As harsh and unkind as the words may be, write them down. And then on a scale of 1 to 10, how committed are you to your goal, to the daily steps? Without excuse, without delay. With 1 being, you know what, I'm not ready. I'm not ready to do the work. So you can save yourself a lot of time and just not do the goal. I know that sounds like a downer, but it's good to be honest with yourself. Or maybe you're a 10. You're on fire. You're very committed. You're very committed because it comes from it within you. It has nothing to do with what I'm saying, and it's not going to come from outside of you. Where are you? Because wherever you land, you can change that by keep going through this workbook. Whenever you feel stuck, whenever you feel like, uh-oh, I didn't do the work for a week, you come back to this. Because it's likely a bad habit, which we're getting into, bad habits, it's a negative thought. And it takes training. It's like training a dog. You can't just look at a dog and say, sit. It's going to look at you like, you're talking Chinese. I don't know what you're saying. All right, let's go to page 12, the page that says my good habits and mindset, okay? Because we got to have good habits and we got to have good mindset, because if we self-sabotage, that is a habit that you embrace. You're choosing it. You're choosing it. You're choosing all the excuses. And it's really important to acknowledge that, which means you can choose the opposite. You can choose good habits and a good mindset. So bad habits can block you from the steps to achieve your goal. Because if you keep doing the same thing and thinking you're going to achieve something, well, that's not going to happen. Or if you do nothing, you can't expect a different result. Like, we have to change something in order for something to change. So maybe you have to give up something, or you have to make space for the goal. You need to change a thought, a mindset, a belief. You need to change what you're doing. So habits are the steps that A through Z. You're standing at the Grand Canyon. You're like, I got to get to the other side. I see steps A through Z. The habits are A, B, C, D. And you're committed to taking them every day. And it doesn't have to be that you have 29 steps that you have to do every day. It could just be one. Just like, you know, you drive to the grocery store. Your goal is to go in and buy groceries. So you're in your car. If you sit in your car and do nothing, you're not going to get your groceries. So the first thing you have to do, you got to get out of your car. And then you got to take a step, and then another step, and another step, and another step until you're inside the store. The goal is getting the groceries. You're sitting in your car. Think of it like that. What are the steps that you have to take? And if you do this with your goal, you're committed with the goal. What are the steps? You will get there. Because if you don't take the steps, that is sabotage. And sabotage is a habit. It's a bad habit, but it's still a habit. And your habits come from your thoughts and your beliefs. That's why we've kind of unpacked all of that to get to this point. So when you commit and you pledge to your goal, you know, it's a commitment to yourself. Because if you break a commitment to yourself, oh my gosh, then it is so easy to keep breaking commitments. And then that tanks your self-confidence. But you can build yourself back up. And so when you work on your thoughts and your mindset, you're not going to stop no matter what is happening around you, because you realize I'm breaking a commitment to myself. And we all have excuses, but you know, some of the more common excuses are, okay, you know what? I'll start again on Monday. It's New Year's weekend. There's all these parties. I know I'm going to eat all the crap food. I'll start my diet. Don't ever diet, by the way, but I'll start my new food plan on Monday. No, that's an excuse. That's self-sabotage. Or I'm tired. I'm busy. I'm sick. I'm on vacation. It's a holiday. Excuses kill goals, but commitment eats those excuses for breakfast. So it's all about being committed. So if you have valor, smell valor. Okay, because we're going to go through this worksheet about habits. If you have an celestial or a smoky quartz, that's really good for breaking bad habits. Because no one can achieve your goals for you. No one can motivate you for your goals. This is why, I shouldn't say this, this is so snarky, but people who call themselves motivational speakers, they literally motivate you for about 48 hours. It has to come from within you. Okay? So what I want you to do is take, how are we doing on time? I literally want you to brain dump in the next 5 minutes, the first thing that comes to mind on the good habits and mindset page. What are the habits that have blocked you? from pursuing your goal? What's your inner voice saying to you, whether it's supportive or negative? What changes can you make? What mini goals can you set? I want you to just first thing that comes to mind. I don't want you to overthink it. 5 minutes. Okie dokie. So, you can always come back and keep filling this in. But when you know that when you're sabotaging yourself because you're making excuses and you're not doing the work, and we've all done it. We've all done it. Don't beat yourself up. That's the worst thing. That's what sabotage likes. It's like beat yourself up good and hard so that you never have that goal again. No, nope, don't beat yourself up. So a couple of things. If you can have an accountability partner that is directly related to your goal, like not a family member, but related to your goal. So if it's a health related goal, find somebody with a health related goal. It doesn't have to be similar or the same, but a health goal. You can keep each other accountable. You can check in. So I've had an accountability partner for 5 years. She lives down in South Carolina, but we are on our phone on the Marco Polo app. She even sent me a Marco Polo while we're doing this. We are checking in every day, constantly. And when one of us is down, the other does the thought model and talks the other person up because we have very similar goals. So find an accountability partner, put your word of the year all around your house. I have my word of the year inside my freezer. I've got it in the cabinet that has the cat food. I've got it with my supplements. I hide it everywhere. So, do that. And when you get an idea, when something pops into your head that's related to your goal, do it. Don't think about it. Do it, because that is literally inspiration that is coming in because you've done all of this work. This is all energy work. And so you're getting that energetic push, like talk to this person, read this book, take this class, go to this place, do this, do that. Yeah, that's important. And then do something every day toward your goal. And that's what we're going to talk about next. We're going to talk about your daily routine. So how many of you actually have a daily routine, especially a morning routine that helps you set the day? Yeah, this is really important. I see some, no. Yeah, you're going to need this. So when you have, I realize not everybody's a morning person. Whenever your morning is a good time to have a morning routine. It can literally be 5 minutes long. It can be 2 hours long. You set the time, but it can make or break your day because it is the time that you decide, this is how my day is going to go. These are the most important tasks. This is the mindset I want to be in. If you've not read the book, Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod, phenomenal. He has 6 different steps that you can do. And he said you can do each step for 1 minute, take a total of 6 minutes, or you can do each for 10 minutes and spend an hour. And it's amazing. And what we need to do and what we need to work on in a morning routine is creating good habits. Okay, it can take up to 3 months for something to become a habit. So, when I hear that it takes 21 days to become a habit, it's like, well, I don't know what kind of unicorn you are, but it takes me 3 months. So don't beat yourself up if it takes time. Okay, because we've got neural pathways in our brain. It's not that there's anything wrong with you. We have neural pathways that have deep grooves that say, no, I need you to go over here and watch Netflix. And you're like, no, I need to work on my business, or I need to go and exercise. So it takes time to regroove the neural pathways. And a morning routine sets you up for that because it is an opportunity to set the energy and you decide how the day is going to go, especially if you feel like you're a pinball in the pinball machine of life and life just smacks you around all day long. This is where a morning routine can set you. And, do you have a morning routine right now? You may have one and you don't realize it. Like, do you shower? Do you brush your teeth? Do you take your vitamins? Do you eat a certain breakfast? all you have to do is add to that routine. It doesn't have to be this big grandiose where I'm going to isolate myself in a special room and I'm going to meditate and I'm going to diffuse the oils and have crystals all set up. No, you got to do something that is going to be doable and simple for you. And you know, when one author, one leader that I really respect is John Maxwell. I don't know if you've ever read any of his books. He's a leadership expert. And he has a routine every day, even on his birthday, even on Christmas Day, even on vacation, even when he's ill. He has certain things that he does. One of them is reading, because he always wants to learn. He's a lifelong learner. So it's finding what you want to do. For me, it's incorporating meditation. And I'll tell you, I fall off the wagon and I get right back on. And then I fall off the wagon and I get right back on. And the more I get back on, the longer I stay with it. And that really helps me set my day. Plus, I get amazing ideas for my goal. Amazing when I can quiet this chatterbox in here. So here's the thing with the daily routine. If you stop even for just one day, it's harder to get going. It's like completely turning off the engine to your car. When you get in the car next, you got to crank over that engine. But if you do something every day, the engine idles. So a good example, you can look this up online. This always fascinates me. When you take a penny and you double that penny every day for 31 days, it's $10.6 million when you double the amount. So day one, you got a penny. Day two, you got 2 cents. Day three, you got 4 cents. Day four, you got 8 cents. When you double that amount every day for 31 days, $10.6 million. If you double it every other day, $163.84. So do you want a $10.6 million goal, or do you want $163.84? This is where this is where the most successful people that you can imagine have daily habits. They have a morning routine. They even have an evening routine. So I want you to take your page that says my daily routine, and let's just spend a couple of minutes. I want you to write down, even if it's just one thing that you can do that's going to help with your mindset or help toward your goal. So let's just take a couple of minutes and write that down. Smell your cedarwood oil or your highest potential. If you got citrine, you can hold that. Write down what you want to do. To be honest, mine changes frequently depending on what part of my goal I have achieved. I may take something away, I may add something, but I make sure that I have a morning routine. Put it in your calendar. If you like to check off things, I'm a check off person. Put it in your calendar. Spend Sunday nights loading your calendar with your morning routine so that you have the pleasure of checking that off. There is something about pen to paper, check. I tell you, that motivates me. And if you have some daily routine ideas that you want to type in the chat, it might give us some ideas. So, you know, if you work with your oils, have breath work in the morning, or hold a crystal for a couple of minutes. If you like oracle cards and tarot cards, you can draw a card for guidance, meditation, journaling, gratitude journal, exercise, visualization. I mean, there's all all sorts of things. Oh, high five yourself in the mirror. First thing, yeah. That's a great idea. Put on activity shoes. That's a good one. Yeah, the Great Day Oil Protocol. Harmony, Valor, White Angelica, and oh, what's the fourth one? Valor, White Angelica, Harmony, Joy. Yeah, that's a great protocol. So it's whatever you can do to help you with your goal. Whatever you can do. Stretches and planks, yeah. And that's great if you have health-related goals, but it's also really good for mindset. Because when you're doing the plank, you can work on thoughts and affirmations. You can do that thought model and say, okay, what are my crappy thoughts today? How is that making me feel? And then you can flip it around. So see, you can work that with many different things. And then an evening routine. This is also important because it preps you for the next day so that you never wake up wondering, oh, I don't even know where to start. I don't know what to do today. That's not a good energy. You don't want to scramble to figure out what you need to do, especially if you have a limited amount of time in the morning. So at the end of the night, even if you just spend 5 minutes and think, what is the most important thing I need to do tomorrow? And maybe it's go do my daily routine and message this one person for a meetup. Or read out of, if you have, personal development books, self-improvement books that you're reading. Wake up and, read 5 pages, read a chapter. So it's in the evening, it's what you can do to advance your goal. And that can include reflecting on how did I do today? And if you get to the point where you're like, I've had too many days where I've written, I did nothing for my goal, go back in the workbook, do the thought models, and work on your why. Because you might have to dig a little deeper because you don't have the commitment to it. Because if you're committed to something, you will do it. Even if you get to the end of the day and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm exhausted, I want to go to bed, but I need to send this one email. I need to do this one thing. All right, now, we're getting near the end here. Okay, so on your next page, it's called My 90-Day Goal. So I'm going to consolidate a 6-month class into 15 minutes. And save you $3,000. There you go. All right, so this is where you will always know what you need to do for your goal. Because if you have ever started a week or started a month and you're like, I don't even know what first step to take. I don't, what do I do? What do I do? Okay, this absolutely works, and you can set it for a quarter. Okay, because if you set it too short, then you kind of feel desperate and kind of that hustle energy. If you set it for a quarter, then it sets up a good 90-day habit, because that's how long it usually takes habits. And when you do this faithfully, it teaches you how to take your goal. So you take your big outcome goal, and then you break it down into projects or major tasks. And then from each major task, what are the little mini steps that I need to do? The who, the what, the where, the when. What are the little things that I need to do? And so this tells you exactly what to put on your daily to-do list, your weekly to-do list, your monthly to-do list. Because if you're busy, but you're not inching toward your goal, you may think, well, I'm doing all the things. I'm so busy, but you're not doing the right things. And so this really helps you get into what specifically do I need to do? So I was actually going to pull this up and I didn't have it on my screen. I want you to start filling this out and then I'm going to pull up an example that I put together to show you. So start breaking down little mini steps. All right, as you're filling this in, I want to share okay, here's one. Okay, and this is just for the oil part of my business. I have a very specific goal for that. The goal, 30 new customers in my team in 90 days. Okay, oh my gosh, how do I do that? Big tasks. I got to have relationships with people. I don't cold call people. That's gross. Nobody likes that. So, you know, who are potential people who I think would be interested? So in that, okay, well, I need to think about, okay, who do I want to meet with? So, you know, I'm going through my class list from last year. Who came to classes that's not using oils? You know, who messaged me? I get a lot of people who message me through social media. And if they're not using oils, then I need to just have a conversation with them and say, hey, you know, how you doing? How you doing? What's going on? I need to talk with 5 people a week. You know, create social media connections. You know, I made a beautiful connection with a lady in Scotland a couple weeks ago. So I need to meet up with her. And so I look at specific social media pages where these are my people and I can create relationships with them. And then I'm going to hold 2 classes a month to teach new people about oils. Okay, that tells me exactly what I need to put in my calendar. I don't ever have to think at the beginning of the week. Now, also part of that is cultivating 3 new brand partners who are doing the same thing. They don't have to do exactly what I did, but they're doing the same thing. So who's interested in earning extra income? You know, give them some simple tasks to do, help them schedule a couple of classes. You know, I'll help them with it and be weekly accountability partner with them. So this is how you do it. You take your big goal, you break it down into, and you may have just one main task, or maybe you got 5, you know, big tasks, and then you break it down into little steps. Does that make sense? How that works? Because when you do that, you will never waste 1 second of your brain cell energy trying to figure out, what do I do? Because I hear from a lot of people and they say, I don't know what to do. work with that page. Work with that page. Because it is literally your A, B, C, D, E. It's your A to Z steps. And you're just doing 90 days at a time. And if you get to the end of the 90 days and it's like, ooh, I inched closer to my goal, great, do it again. The goal is the same, but maybe the major task and the little mini tasks have changed because you're going to tweak it. That's why it's just 90 days at a time. We can do things in 90-day bite-sized pieces. 1 month is too short. A year is too long. 90 days. Does that make sense? Okay. So this is for you to work out because we've gotten to this point and now you've got to plot it out. Okay. It's not just about having a goal. So this is where, okay, if you have into the future oil, smell your into the future oil. If you have labradorite crystal, that's a good one to work with. So, you know, I want you to take 5 minutes and just sketch out. Just do a brain dump. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be everything. What do you need to do to reach the goal? The who, the what, the where, the when. Go ahead and fill it in. Okay, so if you have more to fill in, keep working on it. But I can tell you that format will absolutely change. It will change how you pursue your goals. It's how I get so much stuff done. It's how I can have 3 businesses, because I never sit around and waste time thinking, what do I need to do this week? I can't even think of the last time I thought that. So it will help you greatly. All right. We're near the end. We have one last thing that we're going to do. So what we're going to do next, if you are in a place where you can literally stand up and you have like a 6 or 8 foot space that you can walk, this will make sense. What I'm going to do is talk you through an exercise where you are going to embrace this goal. You are literally going to energetically embrace it, because it may feel far away. And this is a very, very powerful technique. So what I want you to do is, again, any oil that you have, if you have the Believe oil, I want you to take a drop of it, and whatever oil you have, press it into the lower part of your right palm. And then smell it. Valor, frankincense, these are good oils. But if you have Believe, put Believe on the right hand. If you have the Abundance oil, put that on the left hand. Same place. The lower part of the palm, press it in and smell it. And by the way, the Abundance and the Believe oil together creates an amazing frequency. You will shift greatly using those 2 oils. If you have the Envision oil or frankincense, I want you to topically apply it to your forehead and then smell it. Because all of these blends were blended for a frequency. So whatever the name is on the bottle, that's the frequency. And when you smell it, your brain says, oh, go to that frequency. Okay, what I want you to do now, you can turn your camera off if you want, or you can keep it on, but I want you to stand up and make sure that you have at least 6 to 8 feet in front of you. So go ahead and stand up. If you want to hold a crystal, you can do that. Like a Tibetan or a pink Himalayan, those are always good. Okay, and what we're going to do is you're going to walk toward your goal. You're physically going to walk. When you physically do something, it creates deeper neural pathways, okay? So I want you to close your eyes. Hopefully you have a clear path so that you don't trip over anything. But I want you to close your eyes and put that goal in your mind, that big goal. I want you to put it in your heart, and I want you to visualize the end result with all of your senses. How do you feel? Where are you? What do you see? And we're going to walk toward all of this, okay? So I first want you to visualize it. Bring it to life. Who's with you? Where are you? How do you feel? All right, now I want to bring you back to today, reality. And I want you to physically take one step towards your goal. So physically pick up your foot and move it. What do you see? Because your goal is there. It's ahead of you. What do you see now with that first step? What's the first thing that comes to mind? Maybe it's foggy and you just really can't see it that good. Or maybe it's very clear. It just seems far away. I want you to take another step. And now what do you see? Who's there? What's there? What do you feel? You're 2 steps toward the goal. Breathe your oil in if you need to. Now take another step. Is it getting clearer? Does it feel within reach? Does it seem closer? What do you see? Who's there? Who's around you? What do you have? What do you have that's supporting that goal? Take another step. Is it closer? Can you almost touch it? Reach your hand out. See how far away it is. Is it just outside your reach? How does it feel knowing that it's so close? Take one last step. I want you to reach both your arms out like you are going to hug a tree. I want you to wrap your arms around that goal, completely encircle the goal. And as you take a deep breath in, I want you to draw it into your heart and just keep drawing it in. You might feel all tingly when you do that. How does this feel when you draw it in? Are you tingly? Are you warm? What's going through your mind? How are you feeling? Smell your oils again. And I want you to feel what that feels like when that goal is now your life, because you just drew it in. You took the steps. You physically picked up your feet and you took those steps. That feeling you can tie to your commitment because it's a good feeling. Okay, so you can go ahead and sit back down, and what I'd like you to do is go back to the beginning of the workbook, page 2, at the very bottom of the page. I want you to write out, how did it feel when you walked toward your goal? Write down anything that came to mind, anything specific. Like, did you see something like, oh, I need to do that? Anything specific, anything that you felt. Go ahead and take a couple minutes and write down what you saw, how you felt, and the end feeling when you embrace that goal and you drew it. It's in your energy now. So it's going to happen if you do the work. And then if you happen to have any grounding oil, any tree oil, go ahead and smell it so that you ground that energy, that practice that you just did. You're grounding it into this reality. So go ahead and smell it. I'm using Idaho Grand Fir. You can use black spruce, cypress. Valor is grounding. Believe is grounding. And then the last 2 pages of your workbook are crystals and essential oils for if you fall off the wagon. And I broke it down for depending on what part of the wagon you fell off of. So that's just there as a resource. All right. We are getting ready to wrap up. I have just a couple of things left, and then I will turn off the recording so that you can share whatever you want to share. Here's the thing, like I said at the beginning, keep working through this workbook, okay? I mean, if you really want to go for this goal or any goal, keep coming back to this. Print out the pages. Mine are a hot mess by the time I get to May and June. It's like, okay, I've got to rewrite everything. I keep tweaking everything. And, you know, make an appointment in your calendar, whether it's at the end of the month or the beginning of the month, that you go back through this. Because you're creating new habits. You're not instantly going to do all of this at the beginning. This is creating a new way of goal setting, of visioning your goals so that you can actually make them happen. And fill out that 90-day calendar and put it where you can see it. You know, I tape things all over my office wall. It looks like graffiti, but I have everything here for a reason. Put it in your planner so that you can see it. You know, and if you find that you're just not doing the work, really go back and reevaluate your why, because it may not be the right goal for you. It may be a goal that's going to be good in a year or two, but it may not be the right goal right now. Maybe the goal is to work on the mindset of, why am I just lethargic about this goal? Seems like a good goal, but my heart's just not in it. Set a goal to figure that out. Go through those thought models and try to figure that out. You know, and if you're really slipping and struggling, you know where to find me. You know, I'm not going to motivate you, but I can ask you the questions to figure it out. And then last but not least, if you, here, hold on, I got to pull this up on my screen. If you are interested in this membership group that I have, I want to show it to you here. Many of you are in it. It's called the Sacred Shift. And this is a membership group where we are working on flowing with what we want in life, not forcing it, because there are times of the year when we put the pedal to the metal and we go, and other times that we back off. Like right now, we're in a reflective season. This is not pedal to the metal. January 1st is not when you set weight loss goals. Weight loss goals happen April 1st. Now is the time to reflect. That's why we did this whole thing. This was all reflective. It's the natural part of the season. So this is what we talk about in the Sacred Shift, so that we can really align and shift into our potential. So we go into all the energies. What are the planets doing? What's the moon doing? When do you set intentions? When do you release and surrender and let go? And it's all body, mind, spirit. Because if you have a healthy body, you can pursue your goals. If you have a healthy mindset, you can pursue your goals. If you're sick and tired all the time, you can't do anything. You're just lethargic. So we go into all of this. It's really body, mind, spirit. And for you guys, where'd it go? Where'd it go? In the chat, I'm going to put it. If you want to join, there's a fee for this membership group. There's no end date on this coupon code. If you want to join, you can join for a quarter, you can join for a year. Just type in coupon code 22 off. I'm giving a 22% discount if you want to join. Look at it. It may not be your thing right now. You may have other goals that you want to pursue. If you look at it and you're like, oh my gosh, this is my thing, it's speaking to me, check it out. So I just wanted to share that. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording because there was quite a few people that were listening to the recording. So those of you who are listening to the recording, let me know if you have questions. So let me do that.